Hi future teacher, and welcome to this second full-length pre-K through 4 practice test covering Module 1 for people who want to become a licensed teacher in the state of Pennsylvania. This video is proudly presented by teacherpreps.com, the #1 choice for test prep to pass your teacher certification exam. The practice test in this video is created to explain our second, full-length timed practice test answers inside our pre-K through 4 test prep. We do not recommend that you watch this video unless you have completed the timed test and are here to watch to gain insight into why each answer is correct. If you are not enrolled already, simply visit teacherpreps.com and click the blue button in the top right corner labeled, Get Test Prep Now. Without further ado, let's begin. I'll read the questions, you pause the video and find the correct solution. Then, push play again to check your answer. Here's the first question. Which of the following educational practices aligns most closely with Piaget's theory of cognitive development? The correct answer here is letter D. Piaget's theory posits that cognitive development progresses through distinct stages, from concrete operations involving sensory experiences to more abstract operational stages. Hence, lessons need to scaffold these developmental stages appropriately. A first-grade teacher notices that a student often struggles to sit still, frequently taps on surfaces, and sometimes disrupts classmates. This behavior is most likely indicative of which developmental aspect? While some movement and activity are typical for young children, persistent inability to sit still and disruptive behaviors could suggest behavioral issues like ADHD, particularly if these behaviors significantly interfere with daily functioning and learning. For this reason, the correct response is letter D. In planning a nutrition unit for a third-grade class, a teacher includes a variety of foods from different cultures represented in the classroom. This teaching strategy primarily enhances children's learning by. The correct answer is letter B. By incorporating foods from various cultures, the teacher not only educates about nutrition but crucially uses the opportunity to foster a deeper understanding and respect for cultural diversity among students, enhancing their social and emotional development. You're doing great. Let's keep going. A first-grade teacher uses storytelling as a tool to teach vocabulary. After telling a story, the teacher engages students in a discussion about the story's characters and events, asking students to describe them using new words they learned. This technique supports linguistic development because it. The correct answer is B. Keep in mind, active application of new vocabulary in relevant contexts, such as describing a story's elements, significantly aids in embedding these words into students' lexicon, facilitating deeper linguistic development. When planning a lesson on environmental science, a teacher decides to use the local river ecosystem as a case study. This approach is effective because it. The correct response here is letter B. Using a local ecosystem as a case study allows students to apply learned scientific concepts to a real-world context, enhancing their ability to understand and relate ecological principles to their surroundings. When setting up a classroom for the new school year, a teacher decides to incorporate input from students about the decor and organization. This strategy is most effective because it. Correct answer, letter B. Allowing students to contribute to the classroom setup fosters a sense of ownership and belonging, which can significantly enhance their motivation and comfort, leading to a more inclusive and supportive learning environment. When introducing new vocabulary in a language arts class, a teacher provides definitions in both English and students' home languages, uses the words in sentences, and shows related images. This technique is particularly effective for. Correct response is letter D. By using multilingual definitions, contextual usage, and visual aids, the teacher supports both cognitive and linguistic aspects of vocabulary learning. During a group activity, a first-grade teacher pairs students who are English language learners with native English-speaking peers to work on a collaborative project. This strategy is most effective because it. The correct answer is letter D. Pairing English language learners with native speakers in a collaborative setting fosters natural language development through social interaction, which is crucial for building linguistic skills in a supportive and integrated environment. Which of the following best describes the purpose of a diagnostic assessment in an early childhood education setting? The correct answer for this question is letter A. Remember, the diagnostic assessments are used to identify specific learning needs or developmental challenges in children. By assessing knowledge and skills across key areas, we can tailor instruction to meet individual needs and ensure that each child is prepared for the next stage of learning. A school administers a norm-referenced reading assessment to all third-grade students to gauge their reading abilities. Which of the following best describes a limitation of using a norm-referenced test in this context? Letter C is the correct answer here. Norm-referenced tests compare a student's performance to that of a larger, national sample, rather than assessing how well a student has mastered specific content or skills. This can be a limitation when the goal is to understand a student's proficiency in relation to specific educational standards or curriculum goals. After administering a reading comprehension assessment, a teacher reviews the results to identify students' strengths. How should the teacher use this information to differentiate and modify instruction for optimal learning? The correct answer is letter B. By designing targeted enrichment activities that build on students' strengths, the teacher can provide differentiated instruction that challenges students and promotes deeper understanding. In preparing for parent-teacher conferences, a teacher reviews standardized test scores alongside progress monitoring data for each student. How does this approach help in addressing individual student needs? Letter A is the correct answer here. Recall that reviewing both standardized test scores and progress monitoring data provides insights into how a student's performance may vary across different assessment contexts, offering a more complete picture of their abilities and helping to address individual needs effectively. A teacher is evaluating assessment questions to ensure they are free from bias. Which strategy best helps to avoid bias in the assessment process? The correct answer comes from letter A, where incorporating diverse cultural references in assessment questions helps ensure that all students can connect with the material. This reduces bias and creates a more equitable assessment environment. A teacher is designing a content assessment for English language learners using Pennsylvania's language proficiency standards for English language learners pre-K through 12. Which strategy best ensures a fair assessment of English language learners' content knowledge? We'll select letter C for this one. Remember that incorporating visual aids and glossaries helps make the content accessible to English language learners without compromising the rigor of the assessment. A high school teacher uses data analytics software to analyze results from a series of math tests. Which of the following practices effectively uses this technology to interpret results and improve instruction? The correct answer for this question comes from letter D. Employing software-generated analytics to pinpoint specific areas of student performance helps the teacher make informed, targeted adjustments to instruction, directly addressing individual and group educational needs effectively. A teacher collaborates with colleagues to ensure consistent messaging about student performance across subjects. What is the best strategy to ensure that communication with students and families about performance and progress is responsible and effective? Correct answer, D. Establishing a feedback system that aligns evaluations from all teachers ensures that students and their families receive coherent and consistent feedback across subjects. Great, let's go to the next question. In designing culturally responsive instruction, a teacher wants to effectively incorporate cultural and linguistic diversity into the classroom. What strategy should the teacher employ to align with diverse learning styles and cultural backgrounds? Correct answer, letter C. Crafting projects that require collaboration and personal input allows students to actively incorporate their cultural and linguistic backgrounds into their learning, enhancing their engagement and the educational relevance of the content. A bilingual education teacher is assessing literacy development in students who are learning English as a second language. What is a critical similarity between first and second language acquisition that the teacher should consider when planning instruction? The correct answer comes from letter A. Immersion in language-rich environments supports natural language acquisition and literacy development in both first and second languages, providing contextual cues and real-life practice that enhance learning. When planning instruction for English language learners, a teacher wants to ensure that both language proficiency and content knowledge are developed effectively. Which strategy best aligns with this goal under Pennsylvania's academic and language proficiency standards? Correct answer, letter B. Integrating language objectives with content objectives in every lesson facilitates simultaneous development of language skills and content knowledge, which is a research-based approach recommended by both Pennsylvania's academic standards and ELPS. A student in an elementary school exhibits consistent difficulties with reading, writing, and spelling, despite average performance in other academic areas. What is the most likely educational implication for this student? Correct answer, A. Persistent difficulties isolated to literacy, despite otherwise average academic performance, are indicative of dyslexia. A student's IEP recommends specific environmental arrangements to support their learning needs. Which of the following strategies best exemplifies applying these recommendations in accordance with universal design principles? Correct answer, letter C. Strategically arranging classroom furniture to create clear pathways and designated quiet areas not only adheres to recommendations in the student's IEP, but also supports the principles of universal design by enhancing accessibility and minimizing sensory distractions, fostering an inclusive learning environment. During a planning session for a student moving from elementary to middle school, what is the most critical contribution of the general education teacher? The correct answer is letter A. The general education teacher's key role in transition planning involves communicating the expectations and norms of the next educational stage clearly. In an inclusive setting, a teacher needs to implement instructional adaptations for students with disabilities. What is a key strategy that ensures these adaptations do not compromise the curriculum intent? Correct answer, letter D. Modifying the complexity of tasks to align with students' abilities, while ensuring these tasks still meet the core curriculum goals, is crucial. A PreK-4 teacher notices a trend of overrepresentation of minority students in special education classes at her school. What is an appropriate professional response to this observation? The correct answer here is letter A. Pursuing professional development to understand the factors contributing to the overrepresentation of minority students enables the teacher to approach referrals more informed and sensitively, promoting fairness and equity in educational practices. In a parent-teacher conference, a teacher discusses the importance of family involvement in children's educational growth. Which of the following points should she emphasize to highlight the role of families in children's development? The correct answer here is letter D. Emphasizing the family's role in modeling positive social interactions and emotional regulation directly supports the child's overall development, highlighting the essential impact of familial support on both emotional and social growth, which are critical aspects of a child's development. A teacher is working to establish a collaborative and culturally responsive relationship with the families of her students. Which strategy best supports this goal? For this answer, the correct answer is letter C. And that's because inviting families to participate in policy decisions related to school programs demonstrates a commitment to collaboration and respect for their cultural and individual perspectives. A teacher wants to better understand how her students' cultural backgrounds influence their beliefs, values, and behaviors in the classroom. Which action best demonstrates her commitment to this understanding? The most appropriate answer here is letter C. Facilitating discussions that allow students to share their cultural traditions provides the teacher with direct insight into how these traditions shape their educational experiences. A teacher recognizes that a student's family could benefit from additional support services available in the community. Which strategy would be most effective in linking the family to these resources? Correct answer, letter A. Organizing a community resource fair at the school creates a direct link between families and local organizations, providing an accessible and engaging way for families to learn about and connect with the resources that can support their child's development and learning. A teacher is focused on building a strong community of learners in her classroom. Which strategy best supports this objective? For this question, the correct response is letter B. Creating mixed ability groups for collaborative activities encourages students to work together, learn from each other, and build a sense of community. A key difference between Head Start and state-funded pre-K programs typically lies in this case, the correct answer is letter C. Head Start often has specific income and other eligibility criteria for families, while state-funded pre-K programs may have broader eligibility requirements. Great! Let's move to the next question. A third-grade teacher suspects a colleague is engaging in child neglect. According to ethical guidelines, the teacher should. The correct answer here is letter B. Reporting suspected child neglect to proper authorities is an ethical responsibility, ensuring the child's well-being. A fourth-grade teacher notices unexplained bruises on a child. The teacher's ethical and legal obligation is to. The correct answer is letter A. Report the suspected abuse to the appropriate Child Protective Services agency immediately. As a mandated reporter, the teacher has a legal and ethical responsibility to report any suspected child abuse or neglect without delay. A kindergarten teacher wants to involve families in their child's education. Which of the following strategies would best foster family engagement? The correct answer is letter D. Establishing regular communication channels, such as email or phone calls. Keep in mind that open and frequent communication is essential for building strong partnerships with families. A teacher who wants to improve their classroom management skills could. The correct answer is letter A. Enroll in a course on positive behavior interventions and supports. And that's because seeking out targeted professional development can effectively address specific teaching challenges. A valuable resource for a fourth-grade teacher seeking to deepen their understanding of early childhood development is. The correct answer is letter B. Peer-reviewed research provides evidence-based information to inform teaching practices. To enhance their professional growth, a first-grade teacher should prioritize. The correct answer is letter C. Seeking out a variety of professional development opportunities to address specific needs. A diverse range of professional development experiences promotes well-rounded growth. Thank you for watching and best of luck on passing your pre-K through 4 PECT exam.